Happy Valentine's Day, y'all. Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome to Complete Developer Raw, a live show with Will and BJ. Oops, it skipped our cartoon versions. Oh well. We're on the air now. They can see us. Uh, I'm sorry for you guys. Oh, and you know what I completely forgot to do? I have it listed right here, and it's all set up, and guess what I completely forgot to do?
You forgot to tell everybody in Slack.
Yes. Yes, I did. It's like I had the message written. I just hadn't pressed send yet because we run to the restroom before we get started and I forgot. So, all right. So anyways, here we are. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Hopefully our Slack members can join us now that I have actually told them that, hey, we're here. Let's see. I think I've mentioned it's Valentine's Day, and I'm sitting here on a call with Will. So you guys know how my love life is going. Will's married, so he doesn't have one.
Yeah, she's still running. I think she'll be home in like an hour.
I'll tell you, the best meme I saw for today was, "What are you doing on Valentine's Day?" "I'm going to work because it's a Thursday."
Yeah.
So, y'all, I have been stressed. A lot of stuff's going on. My car broke down. It was spewing oil. Apparently, there is a gasket that needs replaced in the engine, and so it was just like this little bit of oil just spewing out, and so it's currently sitting over at my mom's place so that my cousin can come take a look at it. And I am borrowing her extra car right now.
Oh man, you got to watch that oil spewing. That's how you get America to invade. So don't do that.
Yeah, I'm hoping America does not invade my car engine. Uh, anyways, that and school's just been really stressful. A little bit more work than expected this semester. Last semester was pretty easy going. It was a good start to getting back into school, but this semester it's a bit much. Looking forward to having a break from work on Monday to catch up on things. Though if the weather's nice, I may go hiking, but that won't take all day, just a couple hours. So, what's going on with you?
Man, I'm getting eaten alive by stress as well. Um, there's I'm still working on the book. I have to publish one more chapter tonight, or not publish. I have to submit it to the publisher. So I've got like another 5 or 6 pages to write tonight, and then I've got to go through and edit.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, the day job is chewing up a bunch of time. We're doing, we're doing some API stuff and some big strategic things, and so it's requiring a lot of my time, and we have a release, and so like I'll be just hunkered down working on this thing, and then I get interrupted for a bug and have to jump over and fix the bug and come back. So yeah, it's getting to be a little much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that it eases up. If it doesn't, it's Friday tomorrow, so that's really all I got going for me at the moment. I don't guess there's really a whole lot else. I mean, like I feel like all I do is work right now.
Yeah, I can understand that. Um, I'm feeling kind of the same way. It's like I work, and then I come home and study, or I'm working on podcast stuff. Really, so. Speaking of podcast stuff, I'm a little bit behind on sending out those water bottles, y'all. My car breaking down, it was just, it sort of threw everything off there for a bit. So I'll be taking them to the post office tomorrow or Saturday, so it depends on when I get a chance to get out there. And like I said earlier, I plan on catching up on some stuff on Monday, so... Josh Kilgore's on and says, "Heard you need some freedom." That's probably about the America invading. So yeah. On that note, let's go ahead and move on to our first question.
Yeah, let's do that. And a smart developer would have had that scrolled up in the window to look at.
I even told you to do that.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's the stress.
I know. Hey,
I mean,
man,
I'm
right there with you.
like I just can't remember stuff. And
Mhm.
like I had that thing, like you type enough and you're working on stuff, and then you look at words that you know how to spell, and you get like this almost aphasia with them where you can't tell that the word is really even a word.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've been doing that. Like I had to look up how to spell surprised, and I got it right, but it was just like, I was legitimately surprised that I was right because
You were
I've been looking at
surprised
it
that you
so long.
spelled surprised. Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
It's a
I've
stress
I've been
level.
there. I've totally been there. So
Yeah. Okay, so the first listener question is, what tools do you use to save time developing? Okay, so I got a lot of stuff for that. Um, the it depends on how ghetto you want to go on this, right? Because I'm the king of ghetto developer tools. Um, First of all, I use Visual Studio with ReSharper. That saves me tons of time. I would say ReSharper is probably single-handedly responsible for 30% of my productivity. Just with like because I've been using it forever and all
yeah,
that.
the issue I have with ReSharper is because it runs on top of Visual Studio, it causes some weird lag issues, and I think a lot of the
Yep.
things that you like, because you complain about stuff to me, and I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't have these problems, and then I tested out ReSharper because we are talking about getting it as a tool at work, and I had all the same issues that you have. So I'm
Yeah.
actually, if I wanted to go to ReSharper, I think I would go to their
Rider.
IDE. Just go straight to their
Yeah.
IDE where it's built in and it's not running on top.
I've thought about doing that as well. So those are the obvious tools, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then there's all kinds of other stuff, right? Like you can take VS Code and you can type stuff in, and you can multi-select lines, for instance, and so you can do a lot of tricks with that. One thing I've used for code generation before, which is really awful, is Excel. Because you can do all the formulas and all that stuff, and so you'll take a like if you're trying to get all the columns, in a table, for instance, and you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
make properties, and it's like got like 70.
Mm-hmm.
You could drop those in Excel with the types. Do a select star from information schema dot routines or dot columns where whatever, and you get that dump of that stuff out. The other thing I will obviously use is SQL. I've made SQL code that writes SQL code before, and that's horrifying. But I have done that, and I have survived. Um, I've done stuff where I have, I also will build my own tools. So sometimes if I notice I'm doing stuff a lot,
Mm-hmm.
you can use like T4 templates in C# projects, use the runtime transformation tool that's in there, and, build you a little WinForms app that you can put stuff in and get output out of. And then like for the input, I will actually make an object for, if it's complex, and chuck that sucker up in a property grid. So it builds a UI for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Something that
so
I've
it,
used is, well, when using an object relational mapper for CRUD apps, um, I think it's built into Entity Framework for .NET developers, but for things like Hibernate or NHibernate and other heavy ORMs, they have tools that will connect to your database and get the metadata from the tables and build out your mappings and classes, like your DTOs for you.
yep. And I mean, I've done that stuff manually too.
Yeah.
I have a kind of lightweight ORM
Mm-hmm.
that I built years ago, and I could point it at a SQL Server database, and it generates wrappers for all the things. I mean, even including like like stored procedures that take table valued parameters. It'll generate a type for that table valued parameter, and when you call the proc, you can just pass a list of those items,
That's
and
cool.
it'll marshal it over to data tables and do all the crap that you got to do. So the best tool that a developer can use, though, is something they wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Automate repeating processes, get rid of them.
Yep. All right. So on to the next question. Is the data science industry hype coming to an end?
Can I
I
interject?
really, huh?
Can I interject?
Hang on, let me say this.
Okay.
I really hope not. I really, really hope not, considering I'm getting a master's in data science right now. So I'm hoping not. But what do you have to say?
I will say that is coming to an end, and then they're going to call it something different,
Yeah.
and that'll get hyped. Like that's the tech cycle, right? I mean,
I think the
they
hype
just
is
kind
coming
of
to an end, but the actual work is not. The thing about it is, there's a lot of things that early on you needed a master's or PhD in data science to do, and now they've got a lot of pre-built tools that you can just put your model in. Our friend Chang and I were talking about this because I was telling him like I've seen some boot camps and stuff, and Nashville Software School has a data science program, like it's a 6-month program for like current developers to learn data science. I was like, well, with these coming out, how does that affect you with your PhD? And he was like, I still am going to have plenty of work to do. What they're using is tools that people like me build.
right.
And so he's like, there's room for this expansion.
Well, I would even say that tools like that make it so that people like him can be deployed more effectively
Mhm.
because they're not having to do all the other crap.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with that is, and that's what he was telling me. He's like, yes, you're going to be good going into this field. And obviously he loves what he does. He talks about it all the time when I talk to him. So, and I'm like, talking to him is what got me excited about it. And, kind of the part of the reason I chose to go into it. So, the hype is probably going to go down as it becomes more commonplace and more things around it. The work isn't going to go away though.
Yeah, it's kind of like crypto,
Yeah.
either cryptography or cryptocurrency, right? Like there's a hype curve, and then it just kind of all the pundits stop talking about it because it's not as cool to talk about, but it's still cool to do.
Yeah, like you're probably not going to hear as many uh, podcasts and stuff like that having episodes on data science, and maybe not see as many talks on it at conferences and stuff because it's going to lose its cool factor. But that doesn't mean it's not an enjoyable thing to do. Doesn't mean that it's not going to still be a big part of the industry. So is the hype going to come to an end? Yes, I think we're starting to see that. Are the jobs going away? Are we not going to be doing data science? No. Like big data is still a thing. We're collecting more and more data. Actually, in the episode that we're recording tonight, I have an IoTs that is talking about using data and sensors to create art of all things. It's really fascinating. So like there's a lot of uses for data and data science that are just kind of popping up and we're learning about as we're able to get in there and do things with big data and create these models and create the machine learning and things like that. So while there may not be as much talk about it, as much excitement in the media or in like the general tech world, the role of the data scientist is not going to go away. If anything, it's going to get more useful and more necessary. All right. So next question, please.
Why do developers tend to leave a company after 2 or so years? Well, the first thing is that's the only way you get a raise. Most places are just kind of bad about that. It's either they don't give raises or, management's already overloaded and they don't get around to giving you your review and you don't get a raise. And so you're sitting there waiting. Another thing is that if you come in and you do a new project and 2 years later, you're done and you're maintaining it, guess what you get to do from now on? You get to maintain it versus building something new. So there's that aspect. You also start to kind of see the cracks in the company.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you see them before this point, but it seems like it takes about 2 years to really get annoyed for a lot of people. And so they move. So, I mean, that's just why there's also a natural churn and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's normal.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a little bit different in the public sector. You don't have as much churn. You still have a little bit with developers, especially as they're moving up and trying to get promotions and things, because that's how you get your pay grade increases better when you switch departments and stuff. But you do have a lot more people sticking around for 5 or more years in the same position. It's a good place to kind of get in and grow as a developer. So, if you want to stick with that, because some people do, they want to build the kind of same type thing and maintain stuff, and that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to do that. It's, if you don't want to do that, that's when you need to move around more.
Yep.
So, all right, guys. If you guys have any questions for us, you can leave them in the comments here, or send us an email to neckbeards@completedeveloperpodcast.com. Go to the website and send us a question. I try to go through all that stuff before jumping on Quora and pulling questions from there. But, that's just reality. So coming up next week, we have an episode called The Cost of Your Commute. Most of us have commutes, whether it is every day, just once a week, or even just on occasion. Most of us are going to have to leave the house on a somewhat regular basis to travel to work. And most developers' work can be done remotely. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's done in an office setting. Now, this practice imposes costs on the developer, the team, and society that are probably not being fully considered. In the episode that's coming out next week, we're going to talk about some of these and how avoiding or modifying your commute might make a lot more sense. So that's pretty much all we got for our live show. One last time, happy Valentine's Day, y'all. We're going to hop off here and record another really awesome episode to get out to you guys. We'll see you next week.